Have you ever gone to bed in a perfectly quiet, luxurious bedroom on a mattress that cost more than a car and still found yourself staring at the ceiling at 2 a.m., wide awake? I know I have. For decades, I thought that if I could just buy the right mattress, the right pillow, the right blackout curtains, and the perfect temperature control, I would finally enjoy restful, deep sleep. And for a while, I believed it. I spent thousands of dollars on comfort, convinced that money could solve what felt like an unsolvable problem. But here's the truth I discovered at 70, all the money in the world can't buy real, restorative sleep. Sleep isn't something you can buy, it's something you cultivate. And cultivating it requires understanding your body, your mind, and the rhythms of your life. I remember a period when I was obsessed with gadgets. I had sleep trackers that promised to measure every heartbeat, every movement, even my breathing patterns. I bought fancy white noise machines and blackout curtains that could rival a professional recording studio. I even tried supplements recommended by experts online. And yet, night after night, I'd find myself lying awake, restless, frustrated, wondering why nothing seemed to work. That frustration became its own kind of insomnia. I realized that the more I chased perfect sleep as if it were a purchasable commodity, the further I drifted from actually experiencing it. The first lesson I learned is that sleep is biological, not financial. No mattress, no pillow, no gadget can override the natural rhythms of your body. Your body has a built-in sleep-wake cycle, known as the circadian rhythm, and it operates best when you respect it rather than try to trick it. This means going to bed and waking up at roughly the same time every day, even on weekends. I know, it sounds simple, maybe even too simple, but consistency is one of the most powerful tools for restorative sleep. When I started prioritizing consistent sleep times over buying the latest sleep tech, I began to notice subtle but meaningful improvements in how refreshed I felt each morning. The second insight is that your mind plays a huge role in your ability to sleep. For years, I ignored the mental clutter that built up during the day. Thoughts about unfinished tasks, worries about the future, regrets about the past, they all followed me into bed. No matter how expensive the mattress or how soft the sheets, a restless mind will keep you awake. I began experimenting with a simple habit that changed everything. I spent 15 to 20 minutes before bed writing down my thoughts. Not journaling in a deep or structured way, just jotting down anything lingering in my mind. By giving those thoughts a place outside my head, I noticed that my mind quieted more quickly at night. That simple, inexpensive practice was more effective than any gadget I had ever bought. Another factor that made a massive difference is light exposure and movement during the day. I had spent years living in climate-controlled comfort, sometimes barely stepping outside. But our bodies need sunlight in the morning to regulate melatonin, the hormone that helps us sleep. Even a short walk around the block or sitting in natural light for 15 minutes made my sleep more solid. Pair that with light physical activity during the day, nothing extreme, just a gentle routine of stretching or walking, and suddenly, I wasn't relying on expensive sleep aids or devices. My body simply felt ready for rest when bedtime came. I also discovered the profound impact of evening rituals that signal the body it's time to wind down. For decades, I treated the end of the day like any other, scrolling on my phone or watching late-night TV until I felt tired enough to sleep. But electronics, late meals, and bright lights can confuse your circadian rhythm. I began dimming lights an hour before bed, avoiding screens, and doing calming activities like reading or listening to soft music. These small, intentional rituals became the real luxury sleep experience, cheaper than any gadget, yet more effective than everything I had bought over the years. One more insight I had is that stress management is inseparable from sleep. Stress hormones like cortisol make it nearly impossible to fall asleep or stay asleep. Money can't erase stress from past worries, health concerns, or family issues, but mindfulness practices can. I started experimenting with deep breathing exercises and brief meditation before bed. Even 5 minutes of conscious breathing, focusing on releasing tension from my body, had a noticeable effect. Gradually, I began sleeping more deeply, waking up feeling refreshed rather than groggy. I'll be honest, none of this was an overnight fix. Sleep improvement is gradual, and it requires patience, curiosity, and persistence. But over months, I noticed a transformation. My expensive mattress didn't suddenly feel like a miracle, it was just a comfortable place to rest. What truly mattered was respecting my body's natural rhythms, calming my mind, moving during the day, and cultivating small, intentional routines that signaled my body it was time to sleep. That was the real investment that paid off, not in dollars, but in restored energy, mood, and overall health. So as we dive deeper into this topic, I want you to reflect on your own sleep habits. Are you relying on things you can buy to solve what is ultimately a lifestyle and mindset challenge? Sleep after 60 is often different from sleep in younger years, but that doesn't mean it has to be restless. It's about creating the right conditions within yourself and your daily routine. And it starts with understanding that money alone won't give you the deep, restful sleep your body craves. Now that we've explored why sleep isn't something you can purchase, let's move into practical habits and adjustments I made that truly improved my sleep quality and made waking up at 70 something I actually look forward to. And feel that these insights are meaningful. Please type number 2 in the comments to let me know you're still with me. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I warmly invite you to do so, and don't forget to turn on the bell, so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos designed to uplift, inform, and inspire. Your support truly means a lot. It's what keeps us going and allows us to continue sharing thoughtful, helpful content just for you. Now, let's continue this journey together. Once I realized that money couldn't buy sleep, I had to start looking at what I could control: my habits, my environment, and my mindset. One of the first things I tackled was my evening routine. For decades, I had treated the end of the day like any other, thinking that watching late-night TV or scrolling on my phone until my eyes grew heavy was enough to make me tired. But the truth is, those habits were sabotaging my sleep. The blue light from screens, the constant influx of information, and the mental stimulation kept my brain alert when it should have been winding down. I began experimenting with a simple routine. An hour before bed, I'd dim the lights, turn off electronics, and do calming activities like reading a book, listening to soft music, or sipping a warm cup of herbal tea. It was astonishing how quickly my mind began to relax once I removed those distractions and signaled to my body that it was time to rest. Another game-changing habit I discovered is mindful breathing and relaxation techniques. Even if your body feels tired, stress or anxiety can keep you awake. At first, I thought meditation and deep breathing were too fancy or time-consuming to fit into my life. But spending just 5 minutes focusing on slow, deliberate breaths before bed started to make a noticeable difference. I would imagine releasing tension from each part of my body, from my toes up to my shoulders, and it created a sense of calm I hadn't felt in years. This practice taught me that sleep isn't only about physical comfort, it's about creating a mental state where your body feels safe enough to let go and drift off naturally. Movement during the day turned out to be another critical factor. I used to think that sitting in comfort all day, reading, or watching television, would make me more ready for sleep at night. In reality, a lack of activity disrupted my circadian rhythm and left my body restless at night. I started incorporating gentle walks, stretching, and light exercises into my daily routine. Even a 20-minute walk outside, where I could soak up natural sunlight, improved not only my sleep but also my mood and energy during the day. Exposure to sunlight in the morning and physical activity during the day help regulate melatonin, the hormone that tells your body it's time to sleep, more naturally than any supplement or sleep gadget I had ever tried. I also paid attention to what and when I ate and drank. Late meals, heavy dinners, caffeine in the afternoon, and even excessive liquids before bed were quietly sabotaging my sleep quality. I shifted my dinner to earlier in the evening, limited caffeine after lunchtime, and replaced nighttime snacks with light options like fruit or herbal tea. These small dietary adjustments made a huge difference in falling asleep faster and staying asleep longer. It's remarkable how these seemingly minor tweaks can have such a profound impact on the quality of your rest. Temperature and bedroom environment also mattered, but not in the way I initially thought. Instead of splurging on high-tech climate control systems, I focused on simplicity and comfort. A slightly cooler room, breathable bedding, and minimal noise made a huge difference. Nature taught me that sleep thrives on subtle signals, not expensive gadgets. Darkness, quiet, and a consistent sleep environment became the foundation for a deep, restorative night's rest. I also realized that daytime stress management is inseparable from quality sleep. I used to think stress only affected me during work or social situations, but unprocessed worries crept into my mind at night. I started journaling in the evening, writing down anything lingering on my mind, tasks for tomorrow, worries, or thoughts I couldn't resolve immediately. Putting them on paper freed my mind to relax and allowed sleep to come naturally. It's incredible how effective this inexpensive habit is. No gadget, no mattress, no app can replicate the mental clarity that comes from simply giving your thoughts a safe place to rest before bed. Lastly, I learned to be patient and kind with myself. Sleep changes as we age, and forcing it or becoming frustrated when it doesn't come only makes the problem worse. I began to accept that some nights would be lighter than others and that resting, even if not deeply sleeping, still benefits the body and mind. This shift in mindset, combined with consistent routines, gentle movement, mindful breathing, and attention to my environment, created a profound improvement in my sleep quality over time. By focusing on these controllable habits, I discovered that real, restorative sleep is cultivated, not bought. Luxurious mattresses, fancy pillows, or the latest sleep tech cannot replace consistent routines, mindfulness, and healthy daily habits. Understanding and respecting your body's natural rhythms, reducing mental clutter, and creating supportive environments are the true keys to sleep that refreshes and restores energy, even at 70. Next, we'll explore deeper strategies and small adjustments I made that took my sleep from just okay to truly revitalizing, and how these can be applied in your life to wake up feeling genuinely rested and energized. Once I had established the core habits, consistent sleep schedule, mindful evening routine, gentle movement, and stress management, I noticed my sleep quality improved dramatically. But what truly cemented the change was learning to listen to my body in a new way. Over decades, I had ignored subtle signals, restlessness, tension, or racing thoughts, thinking they were minor or inevitable. At 70, I realized that paying attention to these signs was crucial. When I felt tension creeping in, I would pause, breathe deeply, and sometimes even take a short walk. This small practice of tuning in helped me prevent minor discomforts from turning into full-blown sleepless nights. It reinforced the lesson that sleep is a relationship with your body, not a commodity you can purchase. Another insight I gained is the importance of letting go of the idea of perfect sleep. For years, I chased an unrealistic standard, 8 hours of uninterrupted, deep sleep. Inevitably, nights came when I woke up at 3 a.m. or couldn't fall asleep for a while. Initially, these interruptions caused anxiety, which only made it worse. Then I learned to accept sleep as a fluid process. Some nights are lighter, some deeper, and that's normal. Shifting my focus from achieving perfection to nurturing consistency and relaxation reduced my stress and actually improved the quality of my sleep. Accepting imperfection became one of the most powerful tools for restful nights. I also discovered the value of gratitude and mental closure before bed. Taking a few moments to reflect on the day, note things I was thankful for, or even acknowledge small accomplishments, helped calm my mind. This practice created a natural transition from the activity of the day to the stillness of night. By ending the day with positivity and closure, I gave my mind permission to rest fully, instead of ruminating over unresolved concerns. Another change that made a real difference was being intentional about my morning routine. Sleep is not only about what happens at night, it's influenced by daytime habits. Waking up around the same time every day, exposing myself to natural light, stretching gently, and having a nutritious breakfast helped regulate my circadian rhythm. When I followed this routine, falling asleep at night became easier and more natural. I realized that money can buy comfort, but it can't replace the consistency and structure that our body's internal clock craves. Perhaps the most profound lesson I've learned is that restful sleep is a combination of body, mind, and lifestyle, not an item you can buy. Luxurious sheets, a high-end mattress, or sleep-tracking gadgets can enhance comfort, but they cannot replace habits that nurture the body's natural rhythms, soothe the mind, and respect the day-night cycle. True sleep comes from alignment, consistency, relaxation, gentle activity, mental decluttering, and self-awareness. It's a practice, a daily investment that compounds over time. For anyone watching who struggles with sleep, especially as we age, here's the encouragement I want to share. Small, intentional adjustments can transform your nights. Start by observing your current routines, noticing what might be disrupting your sleep, and implementing 1 or 2 changes at a time. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. Focus on what you can control: your daily activity, your evening habits, your mindset, and your consistency. With patience, these small steps add up to profound improvements. I also encourage you to share your experiences in the comments. What habits have helped you sleep better, or what challenges you're facing? Sleep is deeply personal, yet learning from each other can be incredibly powerful. And if you found this video helpful, please like it and subscribe for more tips on living well after 60, because restful sleep is just one part of a vibrant, healthy life. Remember, money can't buy sleep, but mindful habits, consistency, and self-awareness can. By respecting your body's rhythms, calming your mind, moving gently during the day, and cultivating a peaceful bedtime routine, you can enjoy restorative sleep, wake up feeling energized, and embrace each day fully. Sleep is a gift you give yourself, and at any age, it's never too late to start cultivating it. Here's to restful nights, brighter mornings, and living your best life at 70 and beyond.